Okay, guys, I moved locations. I think we've had some technology glitches, and it has to do with my internet. And now I'm sitting literally right next to my modem, so it better work. Anyway, today on Enneagram Mom Interviews, we are welcoming Krystal Hunsucker, who is with me from Dallas, a 3-wing 2. This episode is sponsored by the Wise Wellness Guild. Thank you, Wise Wellness Guild. Stay tuned at the end of this episode for a free membership code. You guys, this is going to work this time. So 1 second. All right, we're connecting. There
Work.
you are. We are in business.
Oh, girl, trust
Okay.
me.
We're going to move the planet and get it right.
I know. I moved outside. I was like, I'll just hold my iPad. It's great.
Yes, I'm holding my phone, and the angle is what it is. So
It is. It's perfect. It is exactly what I know you're all about. We're just gonna roll with it.
that's right. Amen to that. Okay, so anyway, first of all, it's wonderful to see you. Thank you for hanging with me and making this happen. I'm so excited about this.
We are too. I am too. It's good to be with you. It's so good to see you. It's been way
Yes,
too
it's
long.
good to see you. It has. It has. So, tell me a little bit about yourself. Now, we've known each other for a long time, so I know a little bit about you, but the people watching might not. So, I'd love to know more. What are you up to these days? Tell me a little bit about your family. Go ahead.
Awesome. Absolutely. Well, for those of you who don't know me, I joke that I'm a late bloomer in the marriage department. I didn't meet my husband until I was 33. So we didn't get married till I was 34. So I felt like after that, we were kind of like on a fast track. We wanted kids. I didn't want to wait too late. And so I have two little boys, and they are just awesome. And we are done. I am a boy mom. Even though I am the sparkliest girl on the planet, I have all boys. And so I
You
fulfill that with
know,
my married. Yeah. And
the character building.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So I just am fulfilling my glitter side of life with my Mary Kay business. And I'm one of those girls that drives a pink Cadillac. This year, I actually earned the brand new one that has like the 3 rows. So it's life changing. And so we have a lot of fun around here with all these boys. I joke that I'm the queen of the bees because I've got Boone, who's 4.5. I've got Beckham, that's just shy of a year and a half, and then Brad. So
That's
I'll take it. I'll
awesome.
be the only princess over here.
The queen of the bees. I love it. And yes, and so you've arrived at the mom version of the pink Cadillac.
Yes. And it's messy.
That third row is clutch.
It is clutch. It totally is.
That's great. And so tell me a little bit about your Mary Kay legacy too. I'd love to hear. I know you have this really incredible story with this company. So I think that's an important detail as well about you.
It really is awesome. My mom started when I was 11 years old. So, Mary Kay is the only skincare I've ever put on my face, which I'm going to tell on myself. I just had my 41st birthday. And
Happy
so that was,
birthday.
thank you. That was really fun. But so when my mom started, I just never dreamed in a million years I would choose the same career. And not only did I choose the same career, but my sister chose the same career. My mom and my sister have both been at the top position in Mary Kay. And then just 3 years ago, my cute little niece turned 18. That's when you can sign up. And she was like, I want to do this too. I don't want to do the school route. And my sister was like, well, if you're doing this, you're going to like do it. And so she earned 3 cars. She just picked up her second pink Cadillac, and she's
Oh
21
my
years
gosh.
old now. I mean, it's amazing. And so, of
Wow.
course, we have other family members. But my mom, my sister, and my niece and I, it's so
It's
fun.
a
It's
dynasty.
it is, and it's so powerful and exciting. And I mean, a lot of it is it's just the values of the company aligned with our values in our life, and it just I'm so glad my mom said yes so many years ago because I love what I get to do, and I love my life. So it's awesome.
That's great. That is awesome. So, having said that, and thank you for sharing that, do you feel like these activities speak to your Enneagram archetype, the three
Oh,
wing two?
it's I mean, I joke anybody, there's every number imaginable in Mary Kay, but I feel like that Mary Kay was built for a three. I mean, it's, you know, the achiever, and we're going to go for it. And it can be so positive. And sometimes I have to watch myself, though, because I can get so wrapped up. And when I get the momentum going, I have to kind of rein myself back in. But with, you know, any direct sales, honestly, you know, when you get to do your own thing and set your own hours, there's a lot of self-motivation that comes from being a three. And then you add my wing two on that of just the nurturing and the loving of others. And for me, it's been a perfect pair to be able to really, you know, strengthen my business, but also grow myself, you know, becoming the best, healthiest version of myself.
Yes, and I think with Enneagram threes, they are considered to be workhorses. I mean, when they get going, they can really, really put the pedal to the metal with their careers. Excuse me. And so, you know, your success comes as no surprise to me as an Enneagram 3. But I guess my question would be, in terms of, you know, goal setting, and in terms of, you know, driving a team, and inspiring them, how do you use those 3 skills to really achieve that level of success? And how do you balance that with making sure that you aren't losing yourself in the process?
It is a balancing act. It really is. And you said a couple of things that were really interesting to me. First, you said, you know, the threes can really turn into a workhorse. But what you said is once we get going, and that is so true for me, is that there can be a lull in the beginning for me, even as a 3. So I don't know who else is a 3 in their, you know, that's putting that into your career or into your family. But sometimes being a 3 can be really frustrating when I don't have momentum. And basically what I found is that I'm best when I am in the midst of reaching a goal. I'm relying on God more. I'm looking for, you know, I have a really supportive family and they're cheering me on. And when I'm not in a position where I'm being cheered on, it can kind of hold me back, and I fall more into the 2 category. Isn't that interesting? I try to flip flop sometimes when things aren't happening in my 3 world, and then I'm not as happy. And I'm like, why am I not as happy? And I'm like, because I'm trying to nurture everybody and I'm not trying to go for something. So that's something that I know a lot about myself. But, you know, as a 3, when I can really get in the zone and not get distracted. I think that's one of the biggest positive attributes of a 3 is the non-distractions, that you can put the blinders on. You can, what I like to say is I don't really like the word balance, because I have to be honest with you, as a mom of toddlers, I don't really think there's balance. I mean, there's just,
that's totally fair. Yeah.
Right. But I'd like to say harmony. I truly, honestly, I can firmly say that I live in harmony, because my scales tip in different ways. But also what I found is not only in my career, I'm a 3 as being a mom. I mean, I literally, I am a cheerleader. I am an encourager. And even as a small child, when Boone was a baby, I was joking. I actually told a girlfriend of mine this yesterday. She has a baby, and I'm like, you're going to love being a boy mom. And I said 2 tips. I said, one is I taught Boone to clap early on. I wanted him to clap for himself, but I also wanted to teach him to clap for mommy. I'm not kidding. I was like,
I love that.
But isn't that such a 3 thing to teach my
kids? It is. Yes, but I love it. And I think it's really sweet.
I told him, though, is I've taught him from day 1 to compliment others. And I started with me, because I knew that if he would learn to compliment mommy, he would compliment all people. And so at first I would walk in and I'd go, oh, I know this sounds crazy, but this is 3, because we want to be excellence, not perfection. We want to be excellence. And so I look like this. I am dressed most days, even through the quarantine. And so what I did, though, was I taught him, I'd walk in and I go, oh, doesn't mommy look pretty? Well, now he just walks in and then I just melt. But it wasn't necessarily, well, it was about telling me I'm pretty, because that makes me feel good. But telling my kids what I want to hear. But it was about teaching him excellence, teaching him to lift others up. And that to me is just the essence of a 3, is that it's not always necessarily about just us being at the top. You know, we want everyone around us to be in that excellence bubble.
I love that, because that means that that's a level of self-awareness that 3s in in a good space in their heart and in their heads really have a strong ability to do. And
Yes.
they rise and they bring others with them, right?
Yes.
And that's really important when you work on this personal development. And if a person discovers that they're a three, is the power that they have and hold to bring other people up with them. And
Absolutely.
so it's wonderful to recognize that, because threes that are more in a shadow space tend to focus more on themselves and less on others. And sometimes that can leave them in a very lonely space. And
And
so,
and two,
go
with
ahead.
that though, I mean, I am now, I feel like, in a more mature stage in my life. So
Hmm.
that is one thing I do want to say. Anybody watching that's like, whoa, she's got it all together. I don't. But I have come a long way, baby. I mean,
Yes.
this took some developing to not live in the unhealthy space of when, and if I don't win, I'm depressed. You know,
Yep.
I mean, there's
Yep.
that's a real thing as a
Hmm.
three. And so I've had many years of growing and learning about myself to get to the thought process that I'm at today. I mean, there's a lot of truth in that.
Absolutely. And that's a great call out. And I think the other thing we've talked about this before offline is just the idea that threes are incredible doers. And sometimes they get caught up in being a human doing rather than a human being. So having
Absolutely.
that two wing can kind of balance that for you and remind you to tap into your emotions and externalize them, as
Yeah,
opposed to hide them, and know that it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay to be. And so
absolutely. No,
that's really strong.
it's so true. And I mean, even like in the career that I had, titles and cars and these things, and it could be in any career for a woman,
Sure.
right? I mean, whatever your walk is, we can get
Hmm.
really caught up in having the right title, being at that right spot. And I went through a season where I wasn't doing the things I needed to do in my business. I was doing my three thing at home, but it wasn't happening in my business. And I finally had to look at myself in the mirror and say, Krystal, you're not a car. You know what I mean? Because we go by car levels. And, I was like, you're
Yep.
not a car, you're a crystal.
Yep.
And I mean, exactly
That's
what you just said.
Yep. That's profound centering for a three. And I think that's great. And that's a great segue into my next question, which is your type's motivation is affirmation and to feel value. And these are typically developed during childhood. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about your childhood and what event or circumstances helped develop this motivation behind your personality type to the extent that you're comfortable.
Whitney, one of the things I want to tell you is us talking and going back and forth, you really helped me really get to the core of what number I was, because I kept taking those quizzes and you're like, it's not about a quiz, go back to this. And I'm like, oh, because
Hmm.
I was struggling trying at the beginning of when Enneagram really has stepped up and really taken a big part in my life and growing. I couldn't figure out if I was a two or a three until you brought that to my attention about how I grew up. And so I have an incredible, amazing, I mean, I'm very, very blessed. I feel so blessed. I had parents that encouraged us to try new things. They encouraged us to be our best. They
Hmm.
encouraged that practice brings excellence. But they also, my dad, oh my gosh, like almost to a fault. I mean, God love him. He would be like, if we didn't win, oh, it was rigged. I mean, but that's what I grew up with. He was like, if you didn't get picked or you didn't get win, somebody cheated, or you know what I mean? Like he was like, somebody's paid off, or, but that is the belief structure that I
Uh-huh.
came from. And that is really how it just was like, oh, I am a three. That's really where that came from. And, my family life was not perfect. And by all means, I definitely learned a lot of how to's and how not to's in my parents' marriage. But their parenting was phenomenal. And the affirmations of everything, and not only that, but also being there for others, and
Hmm.
not only us seeing their successes and their failures. I mean, that's been a big piece of my journey as well, that they didn't always win, they didn't always get what they wanted, and watching them react and pick themselves back up one, two, three, four, five, six times
Yep.
really is what I feel like has formed me into being who I am, and especially as a 3. I mean,
Right.
you got me?
I heard most of what you just said. Can you hear me
Oh,
okay?
I can hear you great.
Perfect. Okay.
Good.
So I heard 99% of what you said, and I just want to reiterate real quick. So that speaks very much to the childhood of a 3, and the idea that the 3, um, being from the heart triad and the emotion triad, there is a need for that, for finding love, and love is determined sometimes by action. At least that's
Yeah.
how they feel, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that affirmation that you received made you feel loved. And so that helped you thrive and propelled you forward into doing
Yes.
more things to achieve, to receive the verbal affirmation that
Absolutely.
feels like love.
Absolutely.
That's great insight. And so now let's fast forward to the present day and talk about how has the Enneagram helped you in motherhood?
Oh, well, I know I've already given a couple things that,
Yes.
I do with my kids, but um, I feel like as a 3, you can be extremely incredible when you're healthy and insanely toxic if you're not,
Hmm.
And so I feel blessed that I've walked through some life, and I'm at a healthy spot, not only in my life, but also as a mommy. I look back and as much as I longed to be a mom in my 20s, I'm like, whoo, I'm glad it's now.
Isn't
I
it
just
great
need
that we had our 20s to be in our 20s?
I mean, it's true. I being a quote more mature mommy definitely has its perks, as well as, of course,
Yeah.
being a 20-year-old mommy has perks. But
Yes.
I'm exhausted. But I
Yes.
hear they are too. So,
Yes,
but
exactly. And I was just thinking, I had a baby at 38, and
39.
yes, yes. And I remember for the first time in my life, after that first week, thinking, I'm getting too old for this.
Totally. Oh, my doctor tried to talk me into one more, and I'm like, I am not having a baby in my
Hard
40s.
pass.
I physically can't do it.
Yeah.
I physically can't do it. I'm a boy mom. But, being an Enneagram 3 has been really powerful, I feel like, in our household. One of the things is there's a lot of energy in this house. And I think, too, when you're a 3, and get this, Whitney, you don't know this, but I am married to a 3 wing 2.
Oh,
Isn't
really?
that interesting? So our
That
poor
is.
kids are, I don't know if they'll end up, but it would be shocking if they probably weren't 3 wing 2s, because both my husband and I,
Wow.
we are both 3 wing 2. And so we're also both strong willed. And so, to be honest with you, I don't know if we would parent as well with these 2 extremely strong willed children. Uh, if we didn't share that, so we
Hmm.
share this love of competitive spirit and excellence, and there's a lot of laughs and a lot of cry, like everything's pretty dramatic. And so I have to really reel in. One of the things my mom said to me the other day, and I really hadn't thought about it, and I'm not over here trying to win the parenting award, I'm just trying to get by, right? I mean, when you
Right.
have babies,
Survival.
truth, I mean, I can, and in true 3 fashion, I am really good at making it look like I've got it all together. I'm going to throw it out there. I mean, I
Very
can
buttoned up.
paint the picture, but I also know how much value comes with being vulnerable. And
Yes.
so I can compare to a time when I used to babysit my sister's kids. I was in my late 20s. Her son is perfect, but he had a meltdown one day. So then I had a meltdown, like locked myself in a closet and cried. And I was like, they'll be home in 3 days. And she always used to joke to me, there's light at the end of your tunnel. And so then on those days with my kids, I was lucky. I mean, I got to learn from an experience of watching my sister's kids a lot. And so then as a
Yeah.
parent, I could say, okay, I can't do that. I won't emotionally function like that. And so yesterday, we're going through this phase with my little baby Beckham, where he's starting to scream. And it's not a cute, I don't think screaming's cute anyways. I'm just going to be real screaming kids.
I have
like,
a screamer too.
it is my nemesis. I mean, I'm like,
Yes.
God, don't test me with this. Please, Lord, give me something else. I'm kidding. But I'll take a scream over anything. But so when he can't communicate yet, but he can communicate, you know, like he knows what he wants. He knows his thought processes. And instead of telling us, because he can't say the words, he's like, ah! You know, and I'm like, and it's shrill and it hurts.
Yeah.
And
yes.
we were in the car.
I have that.
So I was in the car with my mom, and this was kind of profound that this just happened yesterday before today. And she goes, oh my gosh. She said, I'm having flashbacks to when you were a baby. I mean, this is what she says. She says, Beckham is a mini you with the way he's acting as a baby. And she goes, number one, she totally fed to my 3. She said, you're doing such a better job than I did.
Aww,
and I go, what
a nice thing to say.
What a kind thing to say, right? Especially from my mom, who I respect, love, and look up to. And I said, Mom, you did an amazing job. She said, no, with you, to get rid of the scream, I would literally just be like to the other kids, don't look at her. Give her the toy. Like, I am a true baby of 3, you guys. I will just tell you, like, I expect people to just give it to me. No, I'm teasing.
That is so funny.
But so as a 3 and knowing myself, and then knowing I've got these strong-willed kids, I feel like it's a strength of mine now that instead of flipping out, which would be way easier, or just give him what he wants, you know, doing the route that my mom did, I can look at him and sit, you know, and talk to him. And I know he understands. These kids are so smart. I think sometimes we just don't give them enough credit. Even as a baby, he is so intelligent. And I can see it in his eyes that he knows what I'm saying. And it's so far it's working, fingers crossed, but I will literally stop and I will touch his little arm and I will give him a little snug touch, not a squeeze, but like, you know what I mean? Like just
tempting
a firm, a firm little, we're not doing that. We are not acting that way. And one last thing too, that's been really powerful is I have a lot of incredible, amazing moms in my life. And one of the advice that I got from someone that has been so powerful for me and just fit right into being a 3 and being a 2, because it is, again, it's a fine line to walk, to be this, you know, we're competitive type, like mom. Even as a mom, I have to reel myself back in, but also I have this high 2 in me. I mean, again, I can flip flop when I'm unhealthy and just focus on nurturing people. And one of my girlfriends said to me, one of the ways that she helps discipline her kids is she made a decision early on to never say, you're a bad girl or you're a bad boy. And this was powerful for me as a 3 too, because those words, again, are just so crucial. And I'm so aware of how people talk to me, then it makes me more aware of how I'm talking to them. And we're growing these little people, right? And so when Boone does something, because it's more Boone than Beckham, you know, he's still a baby, but I can look at Boone, and for the last several years, I'll say, Boone, you are a good boy, but that was a bad decision. And so
separate the behavior.
And so that was really powerful for me to learn that early on. And it just really fits into how God made me, and that the thought process of being a 3, of being able to still, you know, get on to discipline is the word I'm looking for. Discipline him, but also lift him up at the same time, which is an art. I mean, it's not easy, but it's doable.
Absolutely. And I think we are the stories we tell ourselves, and that starts with what our parents are teaching us to believe about ourselves. And so I think that is really powerful, and it's very mindful. And it's also good that you're not projecting your expectations of excellence onto your children. You're allowing them to be human. And I think that is super important too. And I also have a screamer. She's 1. And I like to say, like, when she screams, like, my eyeballs rattle in my head. Like, you know what I mean? It's that kind of scream. I'm gonna have hearing loss from this. And so I feel like if the gentle, you know, tug doesn't work, there are always earplugs. And I'm thinking that I might have to get some.
The
I'd like
struggle is
to be able
real.
to hear when I'm 60. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
I think too, when you have other kids and you've got this baby, it's the only way they can get anyone's attention.
It is. And that is so true. And I think that's why she's a screamer, is because she's like, hello,
Yeah,
I'm over
I am
here. Like,
here. Yes,
I can't talk to you yet, but by gosh, you're going to hear me because I need
exactly.
something.
Exactly.
It is so funny that the third child, the baby, that is a real thing. And and I know Beckham's a baby in a busy household. And so you've got to make yourself known. So I think that's a really good tip. And I did want to ask you, just curiosity, where were you exposed to the Enneagram? Was it through your church or was it
It was through
online?
Mary Kay,
Oh,
where
okay.
we
Great.
we are like, one of the things I love about Mary Kay is that it is just, I mean, a melting pot for self-growth. Like, we
Hmm.
are constantly talking about what books we're reading, what test we just took, to find out
Yeah.
more about ourselves. And
Yeah.
I've used a lot of different things, from DISC to strength finders to,
Sure.
all the different things. And so somebody in Mary Kay had introduced this to me, and it has been so, so powerful, and powerful too with relationship with other people.
Yes, right. That
That's
empathy
a big
development.
thing. Absolutely. But also knowing where I fall when I'm at my
Hmm.
best, and knowing where I fall when I'm at my worst. And
Hmm.
I can catch myself now. And especially if it's getting into my worst, I can go, okay, wait a minute. What is happening in life and in the world that's making me lean this way? Because
Yeah.
it's not healthy. So, did you
Yeah.
lose me again?
That's great. And then for a second, but I think it's back now. I think
Okay.
we're okay. So, I mean, you gotta love the
I
little
know,
the
right?
little curveballs we get thrown to manage. Okay, so the last thing I want to ask you, because you've offered, well, let me close out this question first. You've already offered some really wonderful, parenting secrets or tips that are related to your Enneagram strengths. Just to reiterate, first, you talked a little bit earlier on in the interview about teaching your child to clap at an early age for themselves, for you, for others. I love that. I think that is fantastic and a very positive affirmation, inward and outward. And also to compliment others. And that just really, what that teaches them beyond complimenting is just noticing others, right?
Absolutely.
And seeing the good. And I think that's a wonderful, wonderful thing as well. And then, of course, talking about separating the behavior from the child so that the child doesn't tell themselves a story about who they are based
Right.
on an action that they, or a choice that they made, that it was a learning experience for them.
Right.
And so I think that's a very profound tip as well. Is there anything else you want to add to that question that you can think of that would be helpful for all moms across the board?
I think you said it perfectly, though, is allowing them to be themselves and make mistakes. I think as a 3, that could be a challenge, but if you're intentional, it won't be a
Hmm.
challenge, is really what I believe. And allowing, I think allowing my kids and allowing them to see me make mistakes. That's
Yeah.
another thing as a 3 that sometimes can be hard. You want to hide it. You want to cover
Yes.
it up. But I have found I can impact more lives. I can impact my kids more when they see me not do what it is I was supposed to do, or
Hmm.
looking like that. It is so, so powerful. And at the end of, we end our year, like, work wise, in June. So at the end of our year is July 1st, and all of June I was working on finishing a really big goal. And one of the things that I kept talking about with Boone is I was working a little more than usual. I had
Hmm.
harmony, but I didn't necessarily have the exact same balance. And so I kept telling him, first of all, I communicate. And I think that's so crucial too, especially as an achiever and somebody who wants to go for it all. Communication, not only in my marriage, but also with the boys, it was crucial.
Yes.
But that also I told him, I said, mommy's working. First of all, I always tell him mommy's working so I can buy him toys. That's the story of my life. I'm just saying.
That's a very free thing to
That could be a
say.
gift or a curse. So you pick. But that is what I tell him. I'm like, how do you think you have all these toys? Mommy and daddy work. And so that's the one thing. But the other thing is that in advance, I told him, I said, mommy's working on a really big goal. And so I'm communicating to a 4-year-old, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we don't even think to tell them that part of our lives. And I said,
yes,
what's going to happen is, I said, what do we do if we don't reach our goal? And I taught him this. So now when I say this to him, he says, we get up and try again. And I said, but what do we do if we do reach the goal? And he said, we celebrate when we win. And so that's kind of the last thing as a 3 that I could say that I am really intentional about, that I'm passing on even to a 4-year-old, is that I'm teaching him what we do when we fail and what we do when we win. And because you're going to do both in life. And if I paint this version for my little boys, you know, that we only win, it's going to be rough, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just not realistic. And so.
No. And I also think when we don't win is when we learn the most.
Oh, 100%.
And so, and it's like, that's okay. That's life.
Yeah.
And those lessons are what will make us better. So,
absolutely.
I love that you're teaching them both, like learning about outcomes and how to either way, let it help you rise, you know? So, I think that's a great call out as well. Now, I have a unique question for you because you are a 3. And I just want to, I want you to share this story because this is like so quintessential textbook 3 thing to happen to you. And that is, and I know you know where I'm going with this. Tell me about how you were picked to be the woman that got to represent Mary Kay on the Conan O'Brien show.
Okay. So I was on the Conan O'Brien show, and I love that you said that's such a 3 thing to happen to us. My best friend is a 3 as well. And one of the things that we always say is, like, when something like that happens, it's not that we're being prideful, but we literally try to speak into existence what we hope for and what we believe. Not that I knew to speak out to be on Conan O'Brien.
But manifestation.
Yes,
totally.
but we literally say, of course that happened to us. Of course, of course we got the front row parking spot.
Yes.
Of course we have the best table in the restaurant. I mean, this is what we say when we're together. And I just told on me and her. But it was really absolutely incredible. This was, it's been several years now. And literally one day before I got the phone call, I got engaged. So I had to say myself, of course the company called and asked me to be on Conan O'Brien. I just got engaged.
Obviously.
I know, right? No, I mean, that is not how I wish that was every day, but do I wish that, So I get the phone call, and they told me that they had tossed around a few ideas and a few people. And one of the ways I got picked is I have a lot of friends at our corporate building. And because we have a corporate staff and then we have a sales force. And so I'm Salesforce. And I am on the media relations team as a Salesforce member, so that, for instance, I've studied, I've worked with the legal team, which I love you, Whitney. I have a love-hate for the legal team.
As you should. As you should. They are not there to make friends.
Oh, my word. But sometimes I'm like, these rules are dumb. So,
yeah.
But, and I think as a 3 too, we like to push the limit. But I already had the background in knowing media-wise what the company would look for. So I had done, like, for instance, Dallas Morning News had run a story a couple of years before that on me, my mom, and my sister, and interviewed. Or if a local news station said, hey, we're looking for somebody, they would call me. I would do an interview with the news station. So, and ironically, I have a journalism background from college. And so journalism, PR, as well as communication. And so they know that about me. Like there was a lot. And then too, they know that I can be a little quirky, and that honestly, the public relations department and marketing department that chose me They just said, we knew you could handle it. And I'm like, can
Yeah.
I? So, so I got the call. I had just gotten back into town from being on a trip of getting engaged and literally flew in Sunday night, and I was at corporate on Monday. And I was so excited about it until I sat down with the legal team. And then I really freaked out. And I'm like, I'm going to say something wrong. This is national television. You know, they're like, we just don't know what's going to happen. You know, Conan can be out there. And it was beautiful. It was so awesome. He bobs his head into the room. He's like, where is she? And I'm standing there and he's like, you're the girl. And I'm like, I'm the girl. And he sits down with me and he looked at me and he said, here's the deal. He said, we're going to have fun today, which is also speaks to my 3. And he
Absolutely.
said, we're going to have fun today. And he said, I don't want you to be stressed. Just relax. He said, don't try to think you have to be funny and say some kind of joke or anything back at me. You just be you. And the biggest thing I want you to know is I'm going to make you and I'm going to make your company look good. And
that is cool. That is
it
so
was
cool.
amazing. And the coolest
And he
part
did
was,
too.
he did. He really did. If you guys haven't seen it, jump on YouTube.
It is
Conan.
so dang funny.
Conan,
I
Mary Kay.
rewatched it with my husband the other day because I was like, well, I got to do my homework a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I laughed my butt off just as much as I did the first time, and you handled it beautifully. I mean, there were some moments where it was like,
oh my gosh.
I mean, how did you even keep a straight face?
I don't even know how they got that much footage of me not dying laughing. But him
putting on that lipstick right next to you and you holding it together, I would have been like,
it was crazy. It was crazy. But you know, the coolest part about it was at the end, his publicist was with him and comes over and says, hey, the cat is out of the bag. The whole entire corporate staff is downstairs waiting on you. And they're like, do you want to go out a back elevator? And he said, no, I don't. This is why I do what I do. And he did tell me, Conan said, he goes, I got this gig so I could meet women. He goes, it's how I met my wife. I mean, it's so funny. And he was such a family guy. He told me all about his wife and his kids. He made videos for me to send Brad. He made a video to send him. He was incredible. But we come down this elevator, and at Mary Kay Corporate, we have like these glass elevators. So like you're in the dark, and then all of a sudden you come into the light, and everyone from Mary Kay Corporate standing at the bottom, and they're screaming, and he flops his body against the glass.
Cool.
And then he walks out. It's like the yellow brick road, but people are just yelling. And they're cheering, Conan, Conan. He's taking pictures with people. He turns around in the middle of this moment and starts getting everyone to chant Mary Kay. I mean, it was so great. It was really cool. And
that is
I
awesome.
didn't know it was on my bucket list, but it was.
That is so cool. And I'm so proud of you for being the one that did that and for handling it so beautifully. And
it was an honor, definitely.
And it was so funny, and bringing humor into the world is so important. So I love that.
And one last thing I want to say is and you are right though. I got that because of being a 3, because of that achievement thought process, and because of achievements that I had done in the past is why I even had that relationship with the company.
That's really cool. And that's great. Thank you for offering that. And thank you for sharing that story. And thank you for being with me after 3 or 4 attempts to try to make this work with the technology goblins today. So we did make it happen. It's so refreshing and wonderful to talk to you live, to see your face, and to have you be a part of this. And your voice, your stories matter, and they will help change people's lives that watch this. It will speak to someone, and that will make a difference. So thank you for that. I really
Whitney,
appreciate it.
You are making a difference. I want you to know from watching you afar and knowing you when you were, 18, 19, 20 years old and watching.
Best representative of me.
God bless. Thank goodness there wasn't social media. I'm just going to say that.
Amen.
I'm very grateful. But I just want to speak life over you, that it has been so beautiful to watch you be a success in your career and what you've already done and what you're giving back to people, because you're not just career focused, you are people focused. And I see that in you on a daily basis. But I also love to see that the wife you are and the mommy that you are, and the realness and the authentic person that you are and the love that you are just throwing on social media is not going unnoticed. You are magnificent. You are incredible. And I am so honored to be your guest today and that you would ask me to, but also to know that you are just a powerful, powerful woman that I know is going to make a difference in the world.
Thank you, Krystal. Thank you for the affirmation. That is so, so kind. And I really appreciate it. And so you have a wonderful weekend with your awesome family. And thank you again for being with me today.
It was awesome. I love you, friend.
Love you too. Take care. Thank you. All right, guys, that was Krystal Hunsucker from Dallas, Texas, 3Wing 2. Thank you so much for joining me today. A huge thank you again to our sponsor, Wise Wellness Guild. Welcome to Modern Wellness for Women. If you are interested in trying out your first membership with Wise Wellness Guild, you can go to their website and type in Month of Wellness and get a membership, a first month of membership at the $6 level for free. What you will gain is access to a wealth of information, virtual events, and opportunities to enhance your life as a woman. And Wise Wellness Guild has been a wonderful partner for this show. I am a founding member. It is a national organization. So if you are interested and have questions, please let me know. Again, the code is Month of Wellness if you want to try your first month for free. Next Monday, we have an amazing guest, one of my very, very dear friends, Adrienne Hillman. She is out of Tulare, California. She is a 7-Wing 8. And we have a lot to talk about on Monday. So yes, Monday. I believe it's at 10 a.m. I'll have the announcement out shortly. So thank you again for joining me. You all have a great weekend. Bye-bye.